And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another movie review, and this is of Charlotte's Web. Uh, Pretty old-fashioned story movie. In fact, I think this is the oldest movie that I have ever reviewed up in the time that it's going out. It was released back in 1973. It's based off of the book, and it's had lots of different adaptations. This is one of the more well-known and also older versions. In fact, I saw this for the first time when I was back in elementary school, so you know how long that's been. So yeah, but I hadn't seen it in a while. It was a part of a 3-pack I got, which is why it wasn't even in this marathon. If it wasn't in this 3-pack I packed, we probably would have never considered it. In fact, we probably never considered any of the movies unless we'd found them for dirt cheap places. But you know, that's what you gotta do when you're young and a college student, because America. But yeah, let me get some thoughts on it from a more educated movie reviewing perspective versus what I probably would have said about it when I was like 8 or whatever the fuck how fuck old I was when I saw this for the first time. First off, I don't remember it being a musical, but it is a musical. Yeah, I did not know that for some reason. It makes sense that it is a musical, being that it's more directed towards children and has trying to spread a message and is also from the 70s. It makes sense that it would be a musical. The music, though, is not that great. The singing is... I guess the best singer here is whoever voices Charlotte, but even her is not that good. Whoever voices Wilbur should never sing a song ever in their life if they're even still alive. This movie's 50 years old at the time of this going out, so I don't know if it is. If they're still around, hopefully they are, but maybe not. It just wasn't great. But it was also the product at the time, of course, of the 70s and whatnot, so you have to give it a little bit of slack in that regard, but still, as well. And like I said, it's 50 years old. It's old-fashioned animation style, still very early-gen stuff. There's definitely a lot of... It's more hand-drawn, not as much animation, not high technology. So therefore, you are going to get a lot of things where there's... the color differentiation is not the same. Say like Wilbur, for example. Sometimes he's a much heavier pink. Sometimes he's closer to white. Depending on the scene or whatnot. And a lot of the facial expressions and a lot of the syncing with the voice just are not there sometimes. And it's just... It doesn't make it unbearable to watch, but it definitely is noticeable, as you could probably see from other movies in the 60s or the 70s, this period of time. This movie gives me very big vibes of like a PETA, like Rally Cry, or like a PETA sort of thing. Because it... Let's see, because of course the beginning is where it prevalence the most, with the little girl who wants to keep the runt instead of the farmer guy killing it, and they want to be a pet, and then they want to act like a regular pig, and then they keep him around and whatnot, and yeah, that gave me a little bit of creepy vibes. It also has a very racist undertone. Another product of its time, the 70s. The early 70s, 1973, remember, not like, so it's right around the end of Vietnam War, that kind of period. And yeah, there's definitely a big racial undertone here. A lot of the terminology, a lot of the symbolisms, just have that, more, what a lot of viewpoints were in that time are definitely expressed here, and so... Of course, you have to take into a more cultural perspective of the time. But here in 2023, those are very outdated views, and they're also... even back when I saw this in kindergarten, not kindergarten, it would have been like second or third grade that I saw this when I was in school. Even back then, that would have been like, 10, 11 years ago? It would have even, probably more than that, 12 or 13 years ago, maybe. It would have been... still way outdated during that time, even when it was not even 40 years old at that point. which makes you a little concerned that they're still showing this in school. I highly doubt if they are caught on to the undertones of racial stuff there. They probably wouldn't put this in, or they'd show a newer version in the movie, or just read the book, even though probably the book probably also has some of those same undertones. But it definitely was noticeable. And as far as like the storyline and as far as like the characters, I mean, there's some that are just like there's a horse noise that just really makes no sense at all. Like what it's supposed to actually sound like. It's supposed to sound like a horse, I guess. It sounds nothing like it at all. Uh, and then there's a lot of the characters, like the ram, I guess it was supposed to be, and the mouse. They give off conflicting views, especially the rat guy, whoever he is. He, early on, he's given, when he's first introduced, he's given like a villain-esque thing, but he's not actually a villain. He's part of the like main crew. There's no real villain, I would say, at all, outside of stereotypes and like social constructs. I guess that's the best that I can come up with as a protagonist here, because the whole motto is fit in. Whoever you are, you can be somebody, you can fit in, which is undertone not just with Wilbur, of course, being the runt, but also the spiders, the three spiders who can't fly away because they're too small, and then of course the little goose with the Ryan Gosling looking ass, and probably even more that I can't even remember off the top of my head. But yeah. So, what are my final thoughts? It's good children's movie. I guess it's a little outdated, but as far as its like message and tone goes, it's a good children's movie, in my opinion. Is it good? Is it good to watch? No. So there you go. My final score is probably going to be a 5 out of 10. Maybe 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. It's not great. Again, like I said, if it wasn't in a 3-pack with a couple other movies that we would consider for marathons, I would never watch this movie. But did. If you ever saw this movie when you were a kid, or you saw it after you were a kid, or somebody else you knew saw it, let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below, or my thoughts about it prevalent, relevant, correct, whatever you want to say. So stay tuned for other much more amazing content, including more movie reviews and other awesome stuff. And so until next time, I will see you guys later. Goodbye.